Hey tubers, it's Tony, and today we're going to be talking about the process of how to remove a stuck and or broken off crankshaft position sensor on most vehicles. Before starting a process of working on anything electrical in any vehicle, it's always a great idea to disconnect the black cable from your battery. This will keep you from shorting out something by accident and or burning up your vehicle's computer by mistake. If you don't know what you're doing, guys, I don't recommend that you attempt today's process that I'm going to talk about. Simply contact your local mechanic. Let he or she stress over it, as they have the necessary skills to remove your stuck and or broken off crankshaft sensor. What I do, guys, for any crankshaft position sensor that is stuck, I take my 7/32 drill bit, or whatever size drill bit you plan on using. There is no wrong or right, and there are many, many different options and processes of how to get something out or off of a vehicle. But what I try to do is drill straight into the crankshaft position sensor. And for those of you who are going to attempt this process for the first time yourself, what I recommend that you do is get your new crankshaft sensor, your drill bit, put the drill bit next to the crankshaft sensor, and make a little mark down here where my thumb is so that you know how deep you need to go. You don't want to go way down here, and you don't want to go past the crankshaft sensor, as you're probably drilling into the motor, and that's a no-no. You basically just want to bust into this area of the crankshaft sensor, okay? Also keep in mind, sometimes this process will not work, and it definitely will not work on every vehicle that has a stuck and or broken off crankshaft position sensor. So occasionally, when this method doesn't work, I get a bigger drill bit and I simply drill out the entire crankshaft position sensor and break it up. But be mindful. You don't want to go past the crankshaft sensor, okay? Because you could potentially and more than likely be doing damage to your engine. So once you drill your hole, remember that if you drilled and broke it up, or just drilled a hole like you see today, particles broke off and fell down into the hole where the crankshaft sensor goes. If that's the case, get a vacuum cleaner and vacuum out that hole. Make sure you pull out any particles that fell down in there, okay? What I do next, guys, is I get my pick and hook set from Harbor Freight. I grab one of the picks, get me a propane tank, and I heat that pick up as hot as I can get it, and then I bend it to my liking. Wait till this cools, and then what I do is ram it down into the head of that crankshaft sensor. I take a little WD-40 spray around the rim, and this is where patience and luck will get this thing out. So I will turn and wiggle and pull, turn and wiggle and pull slowly, and eventually you will get it out. It may take you a little bit of time, but you will get it out. And for those of you who are learning that nothing is easy when it comes to working on cars, surprise! So what you're basically trying to do, guys, when you drill your hole is you want to get something on the inside of this, down in there, so that you can grab from the inside that will allow you to pull, so while you're down in there, you can pull, wiggle, turn, and that's why sometimes you have to bend this thing to where you like it so that you can get it down in there. And don't be afraid sometimes to take a hammer and tap the end of this so that you force it into the head of the crankshaft sensor. As long as it grabs something, you're good to go for the most part. So the reason why this process may not also work on every vehicle that has a broken off and or stuck crankshaft position sensor is because some crankshaft sensors sit in a really tight spot. So you won't be able to get a bulky drill and a long drill bit down into that tight spot. Sometimes, guys, I will even cut a drill bit to make it shorter so that I can get it into a tight spot. What you can try if you find that you have a really tight spot before going to see your local mechanic is you can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, and even Harbor Freight tools. Look for those short drills, okay, that can fit into tight spots. And only you can determine if you can do it from that point. And if you can't, again, go to your local mechanic and let them stress over it. So now you know you have a good guide as to where to start on how to tackle this problem if you want to try it yourself for the most part. For those of you who have a crankshaft position sensor that's simply stuck, the head is intact, you remove the 10mm retaining bolt. These little pry sets come from Harbor Freight in a pack of 4. Occasionally what I will do is I will put my pry bar around here somewhere, careful not to damage the mating surface, and then slowly pull out the crankshaft sensor, okay, until you can grab it and pull it the rest of the way. Once you get your crankshaft position sensor out, get your new one, take fresh motor oil and put around the O-ring seal here before you reinsert it back into the motor. Put it down into the hole where it goes after you vacuum out the hole. Put your retaining bolt back in, your electrical connector on, hook up the black cable to your battery, erase all codes, and then you should be good to go for the most part. Keep in mind, guys, there are many different processes and ways of getting something off and or out of a vehicle. Whatever works for you is fine. Today's video is just to give you a guide of where to start. And the reason I made today's video is because one of my subscribers out in California went to replace his crankshaft sensor, and what he did was he couldn't get it out. He grabbed it by the head with some needle nose pliers and broke the head off. Okay, so that's why I made today's video, to help him get his stuck crankshaft sensor out. Okay, and he got it out. So just so you know, he was able to get it out on his own, and he's just delighted and happy as hell. But I wanted to show you guys that this is doable before you actually go see a mechanic, especially if you are savvy with cars. Okay, so I hope today's video has been helpful. Just remember in the end to hook up everything back the way it was before you start it. Cross your T's and dot your I's. Take your time. Listen to the videos that you watch, guys. Most of the information that you're asking is in the video, or should be anyway. So hope it's been helpful. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.